Football can be cruel. A team can execute for 59 minutes and leave burned by the outlying one. Syracuse knows this story well. Florida State, Wake Forest, Clemson. 3 great performances, 3 last-minute defeats. Syracuse isn't done, though. The Orange are still kicking. SU heads to Virginia Tech with one goal: redemption. The Orange and Hokies are ready to do battle, and we're ready to talk about it right now on Cuse Countdown.
Hey, welcome to Cuse Countdown. I'm Ben Shulman alongside my trusty analysts, Ian Unsworth and John Eads. Very happy you're joining us today. We have a great show for you. Guys, you know what makes great shows? Great games. And that was the case between Syracuse and Clemson this weekend. A really tight contest.
And Syracuse got what it expected from Clemson's not very good offense, if we're being completely honest. One of the worst scoring teams in the ACC, and it was a rock fight back and forth. DJ Uiagalelei, the stat line looks good, 21 for 34, but SU buckled down when it needed to.
Third consecutive loss for Syracuse, now by a combined total of 9 points, and again, it came in sudden death. And Ben, I would argue the Orange outplayed the Tigers in this contest.
Wow. Well, they didn't get the win, and it wasn't a high-flying offensive game. So let's talk about everyone's favorite part of football, kicking and punting. John, SU has gone from punter U to punter U in a year.
You said it. This used to be the best unit on this Syracuse team, and now both the punting and the kicking is terrible. The Orange rank last in the ACC, averaging 33 yards per punt. And on the other side, Andre Schmidt can't make anything.
Andre Schmidt has lost his marbles. Sometimes kickers just turn out to be mental midgets, and that's what Andre Schmidt, after year on the Hill, has got himself into. He's 1 for 5 from 40-plus yards. In that 2018 Lou Groza Award season, he was 3 for 3 from 50-plus. And you don't have a stat for James Williams when it comes to shanks.
No, and there's no stat in college football for shanked punts, but if there was, I think Syracuse would be pretty much at the top of the list.
Syracuse has had 4 straight punters, 3 straight go to the NFL. I don't think it'll be 4. But to be fair to SU, it was a bit of a wonky game, especially in the second quarter. Clemson scored right before the halftime break, but they probably shouldn't have. The Orange slipped up multiple times, including a punter pass.
Well, I'm going to pause on the fake punt pass because Syracuse actually defended that really well. Clemson punter Will Spires just made an excellent throw. However, I have a problem with the first drive because there were 2 SU personal fouls, the second one coming on a 2nd and 14, and then DJ Uiagalelei's touchdown pass came on a 3rd and 13. You have to know the down and distance. You cannot make those mistakes.
Yeah, this game really boils down to lack of execution and then shooting yourself in the foot. So like you said, those penalties were bad. And really, both of Clemson's scoring drives, they needed Herculean-type plays. You mentioned the fake punt pass, which was converted.
It was a dime.
Joseph Ngata also had an unreal catch for Clemson's first touchdown. That was kind of the story of the night, and that second drive was a microcosm of how it all played out in the Carrier Dome.
On the Syracuse side, talking about the offense here, they were just flat out asleep last week. Garrett Schrader was made to throw a career-high 37 passes against the Tigers. It didn't exactly go well.
Well, when you can force Garrett Schrader to throw the ball, it's not going to be that good. And Schrader is not developed as a passer just yet. In the second quarter, he tries to make a hero play, and he throws an interception in the red zone. And after that, I think he just started second-guessing himself. He wasn't sure when it came to dropping back to pass because he could not run the football.
You mentioned the 37 passes. He only completed 17 of those. That's 46% completion percentage. 4th time this season, he's been under 60%. And like you said, Ian, really struggled on the ground as well. 7 rushes for 6 yards. Did have a touchdown. But that 6 yards, that's not even sack adjusted. That's what he got for the entire game. That's terrible.
And when you run into those big monsters on the Clemson defensive line, that's what you're going to get. Schrader made guys on the Wake Forest team, on the Florida State team look like mere mortals. But against 4 stars and 5 stars, Schrader seems to have met his match.
The issues were hardly confined to the pass game. Schrader could not run the ball, as they said, and John Eads has more on that at the wall.
Then
Thanks, Ben. You know, Syracuse's offense was pretty bad against Clemson, just 14 points scored, and a big reason why was that Syracuse's quarterback, Garrett Schrader, was limited to pretty much nothing. Let's take a look at why and what Clemson's defense did to him. So, first play here. Late third quarter, Syracuse needing some points. Dino Babers calls up a read option, so he's tasked with reading the Clemson linebacker, and he can either hand it off to Sean Tucker for a run or keep it around the bend here in a one-on-one situation. He does make the correct decision and hands off to Sean Tucker, who is stonewalled. Pretty bad blocking, all things considered. But the point there is that Clemson always had a defender there and ready for Schrader in the run game, always accounted for him, never really let him have a free pass around the outside. Let's take a look at another one here. Same situation, a couple of plays later. 3rd down and 12, Syracuse going with a 4-wide set. Take a look at the safety and keep an eye on him during the play. He's going to creep down the line of scrimmage, and as Garrett Schrader is moving around in the pocket here and avoiding the blitz, only a 3-man rush from Clemson. He does eventually get out of the pocket, and this is where he's pretty dangerous. But look, there's 12 in white. He gets to Garrett Schrader, sacks him, brings him down, brings up 4th down again. Clemson always having a defender there, always having a defender ready to get to Garrett Schrader, bring him down, and bring up those 4th down situations. Now, let's rewind back to the first quarter. Now, this is coming off a big Sean Tucker run. It's 1st down and 10 in the Clemson red zone, and Dino Babers dials up a play-action pass. You got Jackson coming around in motion here. He fakes to him. Now, Tucker's coming out of the flat, and you see the Clemson defender is right in his face, forcing him to make a split-second decision here. And the correct decision, it's right there, it's a 5-yard pass, is to Sean Tucker in the flat here. But Garrett Schrader makes things a little more complicated than they need to be. And there's that man again, number 12 in white, picking off the pass. Wrong decision by Garrett Schrader. It's something that he struggled with in that game. Could be something he struggles with going forward. But when Dino Babers decided to go with Garrett Schrader as a starting quarterback, this is some of the bad you have to take with that good that he does on the ground when he's running the ball.
John, Syracuse is going to have to get comfortable with Schrader regardless of results, because the other guy, Tommy DeVito, yeah, he's gone. The former 4-star quarterback announced on Monday that he is entering the transfer portal. Tommy lost his job earlier this year, so it's not like this was completely unexpected, but this is a guy who many thought would save the program, now leaving. The only way we can respond to news like this, 4 downs. Cue the Avengers. First down. The transfer of DeVito in general, not entirely surprising. However, it feels like this announcement came out of nowhere, guys. How shocked are you that Tommy is gone right now in the middle of the year?
Not shocked at all, because Taj Harris preceded him. Taj and Tommy have been a duo ever since they really started flowing together in the offense in 2019. And once Taj hopped in the portal, it seemed like a matter of time before DeVito went as well.
Yeah, if you are shocked by this, you must be living under a rock, because as soon as Garrett Schrader got the start against Liberty, I was thinking, all right, I'm going to put it in my calendar. I'm going to plug it in here. What day and what time is Tommy DeVito transferring? And well, here we are. I think that game against Clemson was the final opportunity for Dino Babers to play Tommy DeVito, because, like we talked about, Garrett Schrader really struggled, and Tommy DeVito has a better arm, and Garrett Schrader wasn't moving the ball on the ground or through the air. Of course, Tommy DeVito didn't play, and, well, no surprise, he's in the portal just a couple days later.
Another thing that wasn't shocking was Tommy's benching. DeVito hadn't thrown for 300 yards in 13 consecutive games before losing the spot. This team, though, has really been weak around him for most of his career. I got a two-parter for you guys on second down, starting with John. Was he ever given a fair shot, and what's DeVito's potential elsewhere?
I don't think he was ever given a fair shot, and there's a couple of reasons why, Ben. You had the offensive line, one of the worst in college football, terrible every single year. He was getting injured every single year because the offensive line was giving him zero protection. You also throw in things like the offensive coordinator switch, and then you had the whole pandemic thing last year, which took away spring football. Just a whole lot of things that really affected his time on the Hill, and, well, I don't think he got a fair shot because of that.
But you have 3 years to learn the orange is the new fast offense. You start in 2017 as a redshirt. And at the end of the day, John, we can make all the excuses we want for DeVito, but good quarterbacks make other players better. They elevate them to a high standard, and they lead their team. Tommy DeVito did not have leadership qualities, and that's why he's out.
Well, he's going to end up somewhere else. Where do you guys think that is, and can he succeed in your desired spots?
Well, let's cue up that old Joe Biden clip that went viral from a couple months ago. Minnesota. That's where I have Tommy DeVito going. Tanner Morgan is a senior quarterback, and he's going to leave after this year, probably NFL bound. DeVito goes to an offense that's wide open. He can throw the ball a lot, and P.J. Fleck will give him the reins with nobody else really in line for that job.
Ben, I kind of dodged the second part of your question on the previous one. He definitely has the potential to play anywhere in the country. He just needs to get those playmakers in the offensive line around him to allow him to succeed, and I think he can get just that if he goes to Rutgers. He's a Jersey guy. He could play for Greg Schiano. Noah Vedril's the quarterback there, but as Syracuse fans saw a couple of weeks ago, he's not that good.
Not that good.
There is a nice quarterback they just recruited, Gavin Wimsatt, who could take that job as well. But Tommy DeVito's 1 year left here. He's got to make it count. I think it'll be a Scarlet Knight because of that.
This transfer recruiting battle will be so fun to watch, but let's go back to SU's recruiting of DeVito for fourth down. The former four-star QB was the crown jewel of Dino Babers' recruiting riches, and now he's gone very unceremoniously. Ian, how responsible is Dino for the fact that Tommy's out?
Well, Dino Babers brought Tommy DeVito in and promised success. He promised him to be the heir apparent to Eric Dungy, but he was trying to fit a square peg in a round hole. We've seen it with Garrett Schrader. The thing that works best in Dino Babers' offense is a running quarterback. And Dino stuck with DeVito time after time after time, mistake after mistake. And the fault goes to Babers for not making that adjustment sooner and letting DeVito go.
I'm completely with you. Tommy DeVito was an Elite 11 finalist. He had all the talent in the world. Dino Babers held up his end of the deal. He gave Tommy DeVito chance after chance after chance after chance, and DeVito just never lived up to the expectations. He never improved.
Big claims, guys. I love it. But let's say goodbye to Tommy. It's time to focus on the current team and the next SU opponent. Stay with us.
Your girls have been with you through every moment of your life. They were with you when you felt unbreakable. With you that time you felt most alone. And with you when you realized you would never be. They were with you when you shared your love with the world. And with you when she became your world. Your girls have never left you. They're still with you right now. But how well do you know them? You don't know why. Knowing your breasts can save your life.
Welcome back to Cuse Countdown with our analysts Ian Unsworth and John Eads. I'm Ben Shulman. Syracuse heads down to Blacksburg this week to play Virginia Tech. So let's learn a bit about the Hokies, specifically their head man. Justin Fuente, Dino Babers, two guys who have very different stories. A little bit comparable, and considering the Dino hot seat, guys, is that necessarily a good thing?
They started in the same year, but no, because the expectations for these two coaches are extremely different. For Dino Babers, you're just trying to get your team to 6 wins, to a bowl game. A little postseason contention goes a long way in Central New York. But on Justin Fuente's side of things, he's replacing a living legend in Frank Beamer. He needs to make a bowl game every single year and have this team in the top 25. Fuente's 5-11 versus ranked teams in his tenure.
Yeah, Frank Beamer actually just turned 75 the other day, and if he was looking at what the program is right now, he'd be shaking his head. Yes, Fuente is 38-26 in his 6th season. Syracuse fans would love that record, but it's just not good enough at a place like Virginia Tech. When he came there in 2015, the Hokies hadn't finished below 500 since 1992. At 3-3 this season, they are dangerously close to finishing below 500 for the 3rd time in the last 4 seasons under Fuente.
Whether you like Fuente or you don't, there's one thing you can't argue. This program won 3 ACC titles in 4 seasons in the late 2000s. Since Justin Fuente took over, the Hokies have made the ACC title game once, and this could be the 2nd year in a row where VT doesn't even reach a bowl game. Pretty ridiculous. Let's get to some of the positives, though. There are some very, very talented players on this team. Who are you looking out for, Ian?
Well, we have to start with the defense. That's the better unit on this team. And Virginia Tech's secondary is electric, starting with one guy, that's Nasir Peoples. 31 in maroon. He started as a running back in high school, and he had 1,800 career yards and 30 touchdowns at Archbishop Wood High School right outside of Philadelphia. He played with Kyle Pitts, who's now an Atlanta Falcon, if that tells you anything. He's replacing Divine Diablo this season, who was a 4th-round pick of the Las Vegas Raiders, and Peoples didn't even play last year because he tore his ACL in the offseason. Leads the team in tackles. He has 3 games with double-digit tackles, including last week's contest against Pitt, and he's got a nose for the football. He shoots out of a cannon to find it. He reads the offense and reacts, showing that running back skill that he's translated over to college.
Ian, I'm sticking with the defense, but I'm moving up to the defensive line. Amari Barno. He's 6'6", 245 pounds. He's a pure edge rusher. Fun fact, he's actually one of 11 siblings, and he's kind of had a storied college football career. He began at Butler Community College because he was a no-star recruit coming out of high school. He spent 2 seasons in El Dorado, Kansas. That's where Butler is. And he told the 91 tackles there, 5.5 sacks, and developed into a pretty good JUCO recruit. Came to Virginia Tech in 2019, played in just 3 games, but then he switched from linebacker to defensive end, and he had a breakout season. He led all Power 5 players, and at an ACC high, 16 tackles for loss, and he's coming on strong once again this year. He was preseason All-ACC, and once again, he's leading the teams in tackles for loss and QB hurries.
Well, I'm going to go to the QB for Virginia Tech. We're going to talk a little offense. It's Braxton Burmeister. Not everything has gone so well for him so far, but the one thing he can do is run. He's going to burn you with both his arm and his legs. Even when he's throwing, he's always on the move behind the line of scrimmage, and he's got some off-platform throws that I think are really impressive. The flashes are there for Burmeister. He's been banged up. If he's healthy, then he can be a very good quarterback for this team. But being healthy is not something that Virginia Tech's had so much. Let's talk more about Burmeister, though. While his legs are a threat, not everything else has gone so well. Ian Unsworth has more on that at the wall.
So there's a reason Braxton Burmeister, the pilot of Justin Fuente's offense, leads the team in not only passing but rushing. It's his scrambling ability with the legs. Let's check out a play here against North Carolina. Burmeister's in the shotgun. It's a passing situation. He drops back, and the hole opens up right there. Top side of the offensive line. Burmeister finds it, and he dashes through that UNC defense, which we now know is not that great. Pretty suspect. Against a better team, things change. Burmeister again, nothing open downfield, looking to run. The Pitt D linemen do an excellent job of getting off those blocks and stopping the ball before Burmeister gets back to the line of scrimmage. Tony White and crew can certainly do that come Saturday. Now, when it comes to the arm, that's where Burmeister struggles, and that's why this team hasn't gotten off the ground. Here against West Virginia, it's a fake draw pop pass. So Burmeister looks like he's going to run, and he stops. Man wide open down the middle of the field, but there's a miscommunication. Braxton Burmeister throws this football to the wrong side of the field. If he puts it to the left of the receiver, that's a chunk gain. But instead, it's to the right, and they got to run it back. One more time in the red zone, where Burmeister again is going to make a massive mistake with the arm. Play action. West Virginia's linebacker's frozen, and there is an open area for that receiver. If the ball's on the R, it's a touchdown. Instead, it's all on the V. The ball's on the V. Burmeister does not put enough juice on the throw. It's a lame duck. And eventually, VT cannot punch the ball in the end zone. That's why Braxton Burmeister and this VT offense as a whole are really struggling.
Burmeister looks to get it back on track this weekend, but it becomes more challenging without his tight end one, James Mitchell. Mitchell is out for the year with a knee injury, a notable absence for the Hokies. He's not the only potential missing piece. The health of starting corner Jermaine Waller and others is in question. Gentlemen, it seems like the guys off the field might be more important than those on the field this weekend.
When it comes to Mitchell, he is a big part of their offense. Virginia Tech doesn't really have a standout wide receiver, so they use Mitchell as that. And without him on the field, their play calling has turned vanilla. Nothing interesting is going on, and defenses are not confused.
Speaking of the defensive side, Jermaine Waller is out as well. He's one of the starting corners for this Virginia Tech team. He was an ESPN midseason All-ACC performer. He was Pro Football Focus Corner of the Week 2 weeks ago, and with him not out there, Syracuse, I think, benefits a little bit if he doesn't play. He is questionable coming into this contest. It's a big loss for the Hokies if he doesn't play. I think Syracuse will match up a little better offensively.
For the sake of the players, we hope everyone is healthy soon, but before we can talk about that more, we're going to take a quick step aside. When we come back, it's game time on Cuse Countdown.
Did you hear about the pony with a sore throat? He was a little horse. Can I tell you a cat joke? Just kidding. Why couldn't the Wait. Why was the basketball court all wet? Why? Because the players kept dribbling all over it. Where did Cavs go on vacation? New York.
1 in 3 adults has pre-diabetes. That means it could be you, your favorite brother, your other brother, you, your football buddy, your football buddy, you, your plumber,
Breathe right into your foot.
your plumber's masseuse,
Yes.
you, your dog walker, your cat jogger. With early diagnosis, pre-diabetes can be reversed. Take the risk test at doihaveprediabetes.org.
Most party fouls are pretty dumb. But if you decide to drink and drive underage, you could lose your license and your freedom. Underage drinking and driving. The ultimate party foul.
Welcome back to Cuse Countdown with Ian Unsworth and John Eads. I'm Ben Shulman. We've migrated over to the wall because it's time for Who's Burner. Our production crew has cooked up some fake tweets sent from imaginary burner accounts of SU football players. We'll show the tweet, and you two have to guess who was most likely to put out the tweet. Our first one comes from @OnlyHands44. He says, I'm getting the short end of the stick in this offense. I feel like I should be getting way more touches than I am getting. Sterling Gilbert, feed me. Ian, who would tweet this?
Well, it's a guy we might not expect, but it's Luke Benson. He deserves so many more opportunities in this offense because he is a guy that can get out in space, catch a ball, maybe off a play action pass, and find space down the field. Syracuse does not utilize its tight ends enough, and with Schrader struggling in this past week, they need to do it more.
I think it's Damian Alford. The true freshman wide receiver is 6'5". He's from Canada. He's the definition of a jump ball receiver. He's probably the closest thing that Syracuse has to Jamal Custis, and he's not getting the ball enough. Nobody else on this team has the combination of size, speed, and power that Damian Alford does. He needs to get the ball more.
Slipped in Canada there. I like it. Our next tweet comes from @HireCoachO. Wow, tell me how you really feel about Dino. This one is, quote, oh my, this offense stinks out loud, like Chris Elmore after 2-a-day practices. My back is starting to hurt from carrying this. Can we please get some help from this offense? Who's this, John?
I think it's Mikael Jones. I mean, he talks about Coach O. He was an SEC caliber player. He had an offer from Georgia. He's the leader of this defense. He's doing everything that he can to keep Syracuse in every single game. The guy's making 10, 11 tackles a night. I mean, he's having to carry the load for the defense and the offense on top of that. That's a lot of work. I'm not surprised his back is hurting.
Well, for me, it's Garrett Williams because he's actually been injured in and out of the lineup through all these games, but he is locked down. You don't hear his name because nobody's throwing his way. He is quietly performing his duties, and he's unheralded. Jones is getting all the accolades, but Williams is doing the hard work.
Well, guys, we've talked current, but as we know, the SU Alumni Network is strong. So this will be a fake alumni burner. This one has a video along with it, too.
Players, this isn't about you. This isn't about you. Players, you did everything. You did hard. You did everything right. It was the coaches. The coaches. Listen up. This was the coaches' fault.
So, the caption of this tweet says, Mood, we should be 7-0, good game. And it's got a video basically implying Dino Babers is a kid. Jeez, guys, who is this?
I guess Sean Riley, because it's the smallest guy on the team in that video yelling at the rest of the team. And Sean Riley back in the day was that smallest dude. 5'6" kick returner, slot receiver, but he always had a lot of competitive fire. So that's who I'm going with, Sean Riley.
I think it's Lakeem Williams. He was a linebacker on this team in 2019, and like we just touched on, the defense is doing everything that it can to keep the offense and keep Syracuse in these contests. And, well, the offense isn't holding up its end of the deal here, and the defense is carrying this team. SU should be 7-0. I agree.
Ian, you're partially right. Sean Riley tweeted it. Jamal Custis retweeted it. And Zaire Franklin commented on it as well. All three of these guys who played for Dino Babers, all of them played for him, kind of coming at the coach on Twitter. Didn't think we'd talk about those guys today, but that's the magic of Cuse Countdown. We return in a moment on CC to wrap it up with our predictions for SU and Virginia Tech.
They call me Maxie, but I prefer tripod. I was your above-average four-legged homie, and then wham-bam minivan. Some people pity me. Now that's lame. I still run, fetch, and swim. And the ladies love me. I'm the ultimate wingman. Just don't ask me to high five.
What are you, superheroes?
Just four brothers who hate bullies and love this city. Gear up, guys.
When I was in foster care, I never knew when I would have to move. So I always had my suitcase ready to go. Then one day, I was adopted. My new parents opened their hearts and home to me. My parents cook my favorite breakfast for me every morning. My parents take me on trips I never thought I would go on. They gave me a home and an even better reason to use that suitcase. My parents aren't perfect, but they're perfect for me.
Hey, thanks for sticking with us. We got a couple minutes left on Cuse Countdown, so let's take a look back at the SU and Virginia Tech series. These two squads shared the Big East in the late 20th century and had some classics, including a battle between young Michael Vick for Tech and young Dwight Freeney for SU. Guys, I don't think prayer nor luck could get us a game this weekend that's half as good as Vick Freeney.
Nobody's that electric on either of these squads, but I'm really looking at the last meeting between these two teams because it was the first year of both coaches' respective tenures. We're kind of on that same sort of plane now, and SU took down a 17th-ranked Virginia Tech team.
There's definitely not a lot of star power like there was in some previous contests, but I think we're going to get just as good of a game, Ben.
We're looking forward to it. The past is the past. The present of this series about to play out. We'll start with Ian. Who do you think is going to win the game?
I've got Syracuse 2013. It's going to be a bit of a rock fight, but the Orange are better. And at the end of the day, they got Sean Tucker. They have Sean Tucker. The AP midseason All-American is going to carry this team to victory in Blacksburg.
I agree. Syracuse wins this one 23-20. I think it's a lot about the defense. Both defenses are going to play well, but it's Syracuse that does just enough offensively to take the win. Take the under. Trust me.
Well, guys, I hate to be the downer, but I'm going with the Hokies. I have Virginia Tech winning this game 21-17. The Syracuse offense worried me last week, plus VT has bounced back well.
Are you sure about that?
I think there's a shot Virginia Tech has it. It's going to be close, though.
It's an off-brand version of Syracuse.
Fuente looked so dejected last time. I can't see that team gaining any momentum.
Look, I'd love to talk more, but that's all the time we have on this week's Cuse Countdown. For our entire crew, Ian Unsworth and John Eads, I'm Ben Shulman. Have a good night.